Hello class. Today we're going to build on the work you've done in the past in defining your policy problem and begin to analyze it further by using logic diagrams. You may recall in an earlier video on the starvation problem, I started with the adage, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. And we analyzed this problem by digging a little bit deeper. When we dug deeper, we suddenly realized the fishermen know how to fish, but people are still starving. And to get to the root cause, we asked the question why 5 times. This slide does a quick summary of what we learned when we asked the question why 5 times. What we found was the root cause was river water quality is deteriorating. It affected the starvation problem because the ecosystem was under a serious threat that then killed off the fishing stock, which meant fishermen caught fewer fish and had declining income, and then finally people were still going hungry. It also had major impact in terms of health. What we learned was with poor water deterioration, it affected the residents who lived along the river because they drank, cooked, and bathed in the water, and therefore had a higher incidence of waterborne diseases, which then affected their health, particularly among the poor families and children living there. So in both cases, the root problem was river water is deteriorating. By applying logic diagrams, we can analyze this problem further. The logic diagram consists of these 3 key parts. We spent our time already looking at the problem and looking at the effects, and today we'll be delving deeper into the causes. But just to sort of show you how you would then diagram what you already know about the problem, let's focus on the effects. We know that there are 3 major effects of river water declining. One is fishing families' incomes decline, which you can capture in a sentence like that. That is affected by the river ecosystem, which again impacts the declining fish stock. And then finally, poor health conditions, particularly among poor families and children under 5. Now, when we look at the contributing factors to the water quality deterioration, one was high levels of solid waste being dumped into the river. We also found that most households and factories discharge wastewater directly into the river. And even when the wastewater treatments tried to treat them, the waste, they were not meeting environmental standards. Now we can dig even deeper into these causes. The causes really grouped into 5 major topics, one being poor water quality controls and compliance, which really meant that the Environmental Protection Agency in this country were ineffective and were not controlling the polluters. We also found the stakeholders were not aware. There was very little public information and the public was not aware of the dangers of waste dumping. When we looked at the next area, we found inadequate regulations. The politicians were not interested in establishing such standards and the existing legal regulations were not adequate to handle discharged wastewater. Another contributing factor was the incomplete sewage network. Only 40% of the households and 20% of the businesses were even connected to a sewage network. And that was caused by poor local government planning, not investing and making the necessary capital outlays to put in such a network. Now we've analyzed the causes. So taken together, we can look at the effects, we define the problem, and we have the causes. And as we unpeel it, we can take the causes that contribute to the problem, and then we can see the overall effects. And this, taken together, will give you a framework for your logic analysis. So, next steps, I'd like you to apply a logic diagram to your policy problem. And in a future video, I will be talking about how to develop a logic diagram to come up with your solutions. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in class. Take care. Bye-bye.